Since ancient times, Confucianism has been continuously passed down. Confucianism, which came from China, lives on as a discipline in Japan. In the closing years of the Edo period, as Japan began to open its borders, the expansion of education within the country shocked the world and helped the country become a modern nation. Exactly how did the standards of education and manners rise so high in Japan? Behind that story lies the history of a certain school. Let us now open the gates of that school together. Schools were built all over the country. The first of those is held to be the Ashikaga Gakko, founded prior to the Muromachi period. Confucianism was at the center of its teachings. It is called Japan's oldest general university, spanning such diverse fields as art of divination, military science, medical science, and more. In the Edo period, schools such as the clan schools for samurai and the Terakoya schools for the commoners sprang up across the country at a quickening pace. One of those pioneers of school-based education was the feudal lord of Okayama, Ikeda Mitsumasa. He believed that it was important to make people's lives steady for the right governance and carried it out. The one person who had a lot of influence on Mitsumasa was Kumazawa Banzan. Banzan carried on the ideology of Nakae Toju, founder of the Yangmin school. He was truly a man of action. In 1650, Banzan was unexceptionally highly promoted, considering his age of 27 at that time, and gave his aid to Mitsumasa, who was then 37. In 1654, the province was stricken by a great famine due to flooding. Mitsumasa opened his granaries and went as far as falling into debt with his mother-in-law, Tenjuin, in order to provide relief to the farmers. He never wavered from the principle of benevolent rule in the slightest, despite the risk of economic collapse. Mitsumasa believed that the making of nations is the making of men and strongly pushed his education projects forward. Then in 1669, the nation's first clan school opened its doors. In the latter half of the Edo period, the number of schools founded exceeded 200. Almost all were clan schools. The following year, 1670, the Shizutani School was founded. It is the oldest public school in the world established for the commoners. At that time, the district was known as Kidani Village, Wake County. Mitsumasa was the one who ordered his vassal, Tsuda Nagatada, to build a school on this ground. At the end of the road, which wears the trappings of each changing season, the stone gates which marked the beginning of the school grounds are still standing. Beyond this point was the place where one had to straighten one's collar. Let us go on. 1 kilometer north of the stone gate, the visage of the Shizutani school suddenly spreads forth from the seat of a small basin. At the time of its foundation, the lecture hall, the study room, and other similar facilities were covered by a humble thatched roof. After a 30-year renovation, the school became a unique, sturdy, and splendid structure. Now, let us go inside. In the front, there is a Confucian shrine, which makes us feel as if we are being purified. One is immediately overwhelmed by the lecture hall, which forms the schoolhouse. What did students of the olden times think about in here? Finally, the schoolhouse. School regulations are posted on the front of the lecture hall. While manners remain the top priority, other regulations are on here, such as never to log the trees. This lecture hall has never been damaged by fire since its establishment. The secret to that is this fire prevention embankment. The highly flammable student dormitory is surrounded by this. Furthermore, on the open hearth of the tea room, which was used as a resting place, it is inscribed that firewood other than charcoal should not be used. How could they preserve the sanctuary of education for future generations? In order to do that, they had to exercise their ingenuity. That ingenuity was concretely built right into the management of the school. The assignment, "You must not log the trees," this was for the purpose of managing and preserving the school. There are not just school trees. The Shizutani school had a school rice field which was independent from the clan government. The school was able to exist due to the revenue of this rice field. The remains of that school rice field exist still today. It is the Honami-ita district in current-day Bizen City. This district was allocated according to the Seiden laws. The Seiden laws are a system of taxation from the Chinese Zhou dynasty. It is thought to be an ideal tax law, but is no longer seen even in China, and therefore is a valuable relic of the past. Documents recording these from those times still exist. They are the documents of the Nobuhara family in Ita Village, Wake County, Bizen. These include records of the people who settled the school rice field, entry applications to the Shizutani school, textbooks, and more. The hard labor to support their school, the livelihood of the students here. Valuable resources that can provide insight into the lives of those students are still being passed down to this day. Let us visit the Shizutani school once more. After Mitsumasa's death, his will was carried on in the person of Yamada Hokoku, who revived the school after its closure due to the Meiji Restoration. During his last years, Kumazawa Banzan moved to the Terakuchi village with 11 of his colleagues and changed the village name to Shigeyama-mura. Currently, a stone memorial praising his virtues still stands at the remains of his home. Yamada Hokoku visited this place and admired Banzan's legacy. In fall, one can see the beautiful foliage of the Chinese pistachio trees. Sekisai, the ceremony which enshrines Confucius, is held at the Confucian shrine in accordance with the ancient rites. The Sekisai has been held since 1686, a tradition which is considered to be the supreme expression of humility and dignity. Today, it is solemnly kept alive by both teachers and students of Wake Shizutani High School. The Japanese who hold decorum above all else. The thing which gave rise to this national ethos is without a doubt the school-based education of the early moderns.
ある人孔子に言っていわく。しなんぞ祭りごとをなさざると。
It survives today as the world-prized Japanese education system. The gates of the Shizutani school remain unchanged and are still open to the public.